You flinch a little when the barista says the total, $6.75, for something that's mostly milk in a paper cup. You pay it anyway. You've decided this is the one thing you won't feel guilty about today. But there's a number hiding inside that flinch. Almost nobody ever calculates it. And once you see it, that coffee never looks the same again. Most finance content treats your daily coffee like a villain. Cut the latte, retire a millionaire, they say. That's not quite right. It's also not quite wrong. The truth is stranger than that. That same $5 a day is the easiest on-ramp to real wealth that almost nobody uses. Not because you need to quit coffee, because you need to see what $5 actually becomes. And by the end of this video, you're going to do the math on your own coffee money in your head, whether you want to or not. My name is Bob. I spend way too much time thinking about money, psychology, and why some people turn pocket change into freedom, while other people earning triple their salary stay stuck. Hit subscribe if this is useful. Thumbs up if it changes how you see your next coffee run. Now let's get into it. $5 a day. That's roughly $150 a month. On its own, that number feels insultingly small. It won't buy a house. It won't fund early retirement next year. If someone told you $150 a month builds six figures, you'd assume they're selling a course. So let's not take anyone's word for it. Let's just run the math, slowly, because this is where it gets good. Picture a snowball at the top of a mountain. That first handful of snow is nothing. You could crush it with one squeeze. But set it rolling down a long enough slope, and it doesn't stay small. It picks up more snow every rotation. The bigger it gets, the faster it grows. By the bottom of the mountain, that tiny starting snowball is unrecognizable. $5 a day is the snowball. Time is the mountain. And almost everybody underestimates how long that mountain actually is. Invest $150 a month into a simple index fund, averaging around 8% a year. After 10 years, you've personally put in $18,000. Your account sits closer to $27,000. Over $9,000 you didn't earn at your job. Stretch it to 20 years. You've contributed $36,000. Your account is sitting around $88,000. At 30 years, you've put in $54,000. Your account is north of $223,000. Now here's the number people never let themselves calculate. At 40 years, you've contributed $72,000 total. Your account is sitting around $524,000. Read that again. You contributed $72,000. The account is worth over $500,000. More than 86% of that final balance isn't money you put in. It's money your money made, quietly, while you lived your normal life. Drinking actual coffee, by the way. Nobody's asking you to give that up. But here's the part almost nobody tells you, and it's actually more important than the $524,000. The real value of $5 a day isn't the eventual number at all. It's what happens to you the moment you start. Stay with me, because this next part is going to test whether you actually have $5 to spare or whether you've just never looked. People imagine wealth building requires a dramatic event, a big raise, a windfall, the right moment. So they wait. Life never calms down. 10 years disappear. So let's actually test this right now, instead of assuming. Pull up your bank app in your head. Scan the last 7 days. A delivery fee on food you could have picked up, a subscription you forgot existed, a snack at a gas station you don't even remember eating. Most people aren't actually $5 short. They're $5 unaware. Coffee's just the easiest $5 to notice because you pay it out loud, in person, every single day. There's almost certainly a second $5 hiding somewhere else in your week that you haven't found yet. That decision matters more than people think. Psychologists call it identity-based habit formation. Save $20,000 from a surprise bonus, and that's something that happened to you. Automate $5 a day for a year, and that's something you did, on purpose, every single day. You're not just building a balance, you're building proof you follow through. And once you've proven that for a year, $10 a day stops feeling scary. People who automate small investing rarely stay at the starting amount. They increase it without noticing, often right when a raise hits, before that money ever touches their normal spending. They never feel the increase because they never lived on it in the first place. Now, here's where most people quietly sabotage themselves, and almost nobody talks about it. Let's say you do this perfectly for 10 years. You build that $27,000. Then life happens. You stop adding. You don't touch it, you just stop feeding it. Leave that $27,000 alone for another 30 years at the same 8%, and it grows to roughly $271,000 on its own. Not bad for money you walked away from. But the person who never stopped ends up over $524,000. Same exact start, same first 10 years. The only difference is whether the snowball kept rolling. Stopping doesn't erase your progress. It just caps it right before the slope was about to get steep. Real quick, because people ask this constantly, where does the $5 actually go? I'm not a financial advisor, so treat this as a starting point, not personal advice. If your job offers any kind of retirement match, that comes first, every time. That's free money matching your money before it's even invested. Skipping it is turning down a raise nobody had to ask for. After that, a Roth IRA is usually next for a habit this small, because the growth comes out tax-free decades from now, when $524,000 sounds a lot better without a tax bill attached. Only after both are maxed out does a regular brokerage account make sense. Same index fund, same $5 a day, different label on the account holding it. The account matters less than people think. The $5 showing up every day is the part doing the actual work. Now, I need to tell you about two people, because this is the part of the video that's going to make some of you genuinely upset, and I think you need to hear it anyway. Two friends, same job offer out of college, same salary, same $150 a month they're both willing to invest at 8%. The only difference between them is when they start. One starts at 25, the other waits until 35, tells himself he'll catch up later by investing a little more once he's earning more. By 65, the one who started at 25 ends up with roughly double the final balance of the one who waited. Not because he tried harder, not because he earned more. He gave the snowball 10 extra years at the top of the hill, the exact 10 years where it picks up the most speed for the longest stretch. The friend who waited didn't just lose 10 years of $150 deposits. He lost the single steepest, most valuable decade in the entire 40-year climb, and no amount of catching up later fully closes that gap. That's the part that should bother you a little. The damage from waiting isn't a straight line. It's not, I lose a bit. It's, I lose the part of the mountain that was doing the heaviest lifting. If you're closer to 35 than 25 watching this right now, that's not a reason to give up. It's the reason to start today instead of next month. Every month you wait is a month carved straight out of the steepest part of your own curve. Now let's talk about the thing that actually stops most people from sticking with this, and it has nothing to do with discipline. It's fear of the crash. Because at some point, while your snowball is rolling, the market is going to drop. Not a little, a real drop. It happened in 2008. It happened again in 2020. Account balances fell fast, and a lot of people watching their statements panicked and pulled their money out completely, locking in the loss for good. Here's what almost nobody shows you about that exact moment. The person who kept their automatic $5 a day running straight through 2008 without touching a thing wasn't just protected from the crash. They were quietly buying more shares at a discount every single week the market stayed down. The same way you'd grab extra snow off a slope without slowing your roll. By the time the market recovered, which it always has, every single time in market history, those discounted shares were worth dramatically more than what they cost. The crash didn't hurt the automatic investor. It helped them, as long as they didn't stop. The people who actually got hurt weren't the ones who stayed invested. They were the ones who panicked, sold at the bottom, and then sat on the sidelines, too scared to get back in once things recovered. They didn't lose money because the market crashed. They lost money because they reacted to the crash. Your $5 a day doesn't know the difference between a good month and a bad one, and that's exactly the point. It just keeps showing up, buying a little more when things are expensive, buying a little more when things are cheap, And averaging out a return, most people who panic never actually get to keep. There's one more thing worth saying, because it's what actually keeps people doing this for decades instead of months. The goal was never really the $524,000. That number is just what happens automatically if you stay out of the way. The actual goal is becoming somebody who pays themselves first without thinking twice, before the day gets a chance to talk you out of it. Once that identity sets in, the account takes care of itself. You stop checking it obsessively. You stop panicking over market dips because you know the next deposit is coming regardless of what the news says. It becomes boring. And boring, almost all of the time, is exactly what real wealth looks like while it's actually being built. Nobody films the boring part. That doesn't mean it isn't working.
So here's what I actually want you to take from this. You don't need a windfall. You don't need to wait until you're making more. You don't need to give up coffee or fun or anything that makes life feel worth living right now. You need $5 a day, redirected somewhere that compounds, and the patience to leave it alone long enough to watch a snowball become something you couldn't have predicted from where it started. Before you go, if any of this clicked for you, hit that like button. It actually helps this video reach more people who need to hear it. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one, share it with the one friend who still thinks investing is only for rich people, and drop a comment telling me what's your number. What dollar amount would actually change how you feel? I read every single one. And if you want to see what that feeling actually looks like at a bigger scale, I broke down what $100,000 saved actually feels like day to day, the stuff nobody puts in a headline. It's right there on screen. Go watch that one next.